Many people today do not notice that they are tired until the day finally ends and the room becomes quiet. All day, the mind keeps moving ahead of the body, reaching for something that is not here yet. We wake up and immediately look for a feeling. We want to feel happy, light, satisfied, safe. And when we do not feel it, we begin chasing it, as if it is a small object we dropped somewhere and must find before we can continue living. But the strange thing is this: the more tightly we hold that search, the more distant the feeling becomes. Happiness starts to feel like a place we must arrive at, not something that visits us when we are present. Some of us carry a hidden pressure that sounds like a soft voice inside. It says, "You should be happier than this." And even when life is not terrible, even when things are fine, that voice makes fine feel like failure. It turns normal days into a quiet race. It makes us compare our inside to other people's outside. It makes us push ourselves to keep improving, keep fixing, keep becoming, as if our worth depends on maintaining a certain mood. When happiness becomes a target, the heart begins to live in the future, and the present becomes something to get through, not something to stand in. In a small town surrounded by low hills, there lived a man named Faris. He was not a dramatic man. He worked at a stationery shop near the bus stop, the kind of shop that smelled of paper and ink and dust, warmed by sunlight. He knew the regular customers by face, sometimes by name. His life looked simple from the outside, and in many ways it was. But inside him there was a constant, gentle restlessness, like a cup of tea that never fully settled. Faris had a habit of telling himself that when certain things improved, he would finally feel right. When his savings grew, he would relax. When his work felt more meaningful, he would be content. When his home looked more organized, his mind would become calmer. When his body felt fitter, his thoughts would become quieter. He did not say these things out loud much, but he carried them like small stones in his pocket, always checking them, always feeling their way. After work, he often walked to a nearby park and sat on a bench under a neem tree. The park was not grand. Children played in the late afternoon. Birds hopped around looking for crumbs, and old men sat in groups talking softly. Faris would sit and scroll through his phone, as if the next piece of information might unlock the feeling he wanted. Some days he watched people laugh and wondered why his own happiness felt delayed, like a bus that never arrived on time. At home, he tried to build routines. He made lists, he started small habits, and then judged himself when he could not keep them perfectly. He cleaned his room, rearranged his shelves, even folded his clothes with extra care, hoping the outer order would quiet the inner noise. But the quiet never stayed. A calm morning would be followed by an uneasy afternoon. A peaceful evening would be followed by a night of thinking. And the more he tried to hold on to happiness, the more it slipped through his fingers, like water when you close your hand too tightly. One day, after closing the shop, Faris felt a familiar heaviness in his chest. Nothing terrible had happened. The day had been normal, and that was what bothered him. He thought, why am I not satisfied with normal? He walked to the park as usual, but instead of sitting on his bench, he kept walking toward the edge, where the grass met a small dirt path. The path led toward a quiet area where fewer people went. There, near a low wall, he noticed an old man sitting with his back against a tree. The man held a small cloth bag and a worn cup. Beside him was a small bowl filled with water. He was not begging. He was simply there, as if he had been there for years, as if time had slowed around him. Faris nodded politely and was about to pass, but the old man looked up and offered his cup with a calm gesture. The cup was empty. Faris hesitated. Then he said, "You want water?" The old man gave a small nod. Faris poured water from the bowl into the cup carefully so it would not spill. He handed it back. The old man drank slowly, not hurried, not anxious. When he finished, he placed the cup down and looked at Faris again, as if he was looking at the kind of tiredness that does not show on the face. After a moment, the old man spoke, but only a few words. "Sit if you want." Faris sat on the low wall, a little distance away. The air smelled like dust and leaves. The light was softer now, turning the edges of things gentle. Faris did not plan to talk, but the quiet made space inside him, and words came out as they often do when someone is not trying to impress anyone. "I don't know why I feel this way," he said. I keep thinking I should be happier. I keep trying to do things right. But even when things are okay, I feel like something is missing." The old man did not respond quickly. He picked up the cloth bag and opened it. Inside were simple things: a small piece of bread, a few dates, and a small stone that looked smooth from being held many times. He took out the stone and placed it on the ground between them. Then he said, very softly, "Hold this." Faris picked up the stone. It was not heavy, but it had a firmness to it. The old man watched him, not with judgment, but with quiet attention. "Now," the old man said, "hold it tighter." Faris tightened his grip. The old man nodded slightly. Tighter. Faris squeezed harder. The stone pressed into his palm. It began to feel uncomfortable. The old man said, "Now tell me what you feel." Faris looked down at his hand. "It hurts," he admitted. "It's not pleasant," the old man said. "Open your hand." Faris opened his palm. The stone sat there, harmless now, almost peaceful. The old man did not explain more than that. He simply picked up his cup, rinsed it with a small swirl of water, and placed it back beside him. Then, in a quiet voice, he said, "You keep doing that inside." That was all. Faris sat with the stone in his open palm, feeling the difference between force and ease. He understood something without needing more words. He had been squeezing his life, squeezing his days, squeezing his own heart, demanding a certain feeling from them. He had been holding happiness like a stone he must not drop. And in doing so, he had turned it into pain. He went home that evening and did not make a new plan. He did not set a new goal for happiness. Instead, he did one small thing with full attention. He washed his face slowly. He ate his dinner without rushing. He noticed how tired his shoulders were and did not insult himself for it. He went to bed earlier, not as a strategy, but as care. In the following days, he started to live with a quieter kind of focus, not the sharp focus of chasing, but the steady focus of being present. At work, he listened when customers spoke instead of thinking ahead. He arranged the notebooks on the shelf with calm hands, not to control life, but to bring order to the moment in front of him. He stopped checking his phone every few minutes. When he did check it, he did it deliberately, and then he set it down again. He began practicing patience with his own feelings. When joy came, he let it come. When it did not, he did not treat the day as broken. He started keeping simple promises to himself. Not big dramatic changes, but small disciplines that felt like self-respect. Drinking water, walking for 20 minutes, reading a few pages before sleep, sitting quietly for a while without needing entertainment. And slowly something changed. Not like a sudden sunrise, but like the way light returns after a long, cloudy week. He noticed that happiness was not something he could demand on command. It was something that arrived when he lived with balance. It came when he treated himself with care. It stayed longer when he did not chase it. One evening, Faris returned to the quiet edge of the park. The old man was not there. The spot under the tree was empty, but Faris did not feel disappointed. He sat on the low wall and placed a small, smooth stone in his open palm, letting it rest without gripping it. As the sky softened towards sunset, he understood what he had been missing. When you chase happiness, you turn it into a prize, and your heart becomes a runner who never rests. But when you live with focus, self-care, patience, discipline, balance, simplicity, self-respect, and clarity, happiness stops being the destination and becomes a gentle companion. It comes and goes as feelings do, but you are no longer lost without it. So if you feel that quiet pressure inside you, the feeling that you should be happier, notice how tightly you are holding your life. Open your hand a little. Take care of yourself in small ways. Be patient with your mind. Live the day you are in, not the feeling you are chasing. And remember this moral, softly, like something true you can return to. Happiness cannot be caught by running after it. It is often found when you finally stop chasing and start living with calm balance.